Today, we're at a station which opened on the 10th of March 1906 as the temporary southern terminus of the Bakerloo line.
It's had 3 names since it first opened. Today we're at Lambeth North.
In this week's episode...
Let's just have a quick look.
I'm not going to barge into anyone's offices.
Whoa! Heavens above.
That is so cool.
The lady practicing looks a little bit scared.
Oh, look at that.
Right.
Oh my God.
Oh, hello. Not seen one of these before.
Smells like the Northern Line for me.
It does. You got the key.
I've got a key.
Let's see what we can do.
Hello everybody, welcome to the final of Series 7 of the Hidden London Hangouts. And I'm going to start by singing Doing the Lambeth North Oi! Which is one way of introducing our station. Of course, you might know it as that station, but it's had other names in the past. I don't do this on my own. I've got 3 amazing folk from the London Transport Museum to guide us through the station and to give us a laugh along the way, starting off with Chris Nix. Chris, it was quite a dirty little process going to Lambeth North, wasn't it?
It was. It was an interesting one, though. And for me, this station is the new hotness. Really enjoyed it.
It's a station where really this is a perfect example of looking up, not at your phone as you walk round. The delights you're about to see are off the scale. And there's places that not even we knew about. So we're going to show them to you. Siddy, you've scrubbed up well, darling.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was quite filthy down there yesterday. It was more than we expected, right, Chris? It was kind of a suggestion where I sort of went, oh, well, what about this one? Because it's a Central London one we haven't done before. And what a treasure trove it was.
Gorgeous stuff. And Laura Hilton Brown, hello, my darling. You are about to see some beautiful coloured tiles, the likes of which that I would never have contrasted together. What an interesting mix they will be.
I am excited about this one. Whenever one or whoever of you 3 suggests kind of, let's try this place and we don't really know what we're going to find, I feel like it's going to be that jewelry box moment where you open it up and you're not quite sure if there's any jewelry in it or not. And I think we're going to flip that lid and it's going to sparkle.
It's going to be fantastic. Some things to watch out for before we start the film. Number 1, in the lift shaft, look really carefully at the top. Make sure that you pay attention to the colours on the stairs. And also, what's that massive door with WT written on it? Play the tape.
So, Chris, when we were talking about what station to go to next, I suggested Lambeth North simply because I was trying to think of a station that's centrally located that we haven't done yet.
And it's a great suggestion. Zone 1 station, apparently the least used in Zone 1.
Is it really?
But I think rather a fab choice. We've of course done its neighbour, Elephant and Castle, and that had some great stuff in it.
Yeah.
And I think this one does too.
Yeah, and it's got a very interesting and fascinating history, doesn't it? Because a lot of things have happened to the station. So, you know, it's called Lambeth North now. It's had multiple names.
It has. So if we have a look around it, it was originally opened as
Kennington Road.
Which is
that road
one over there.
Which is a bit of a misnomer because it's not actually on Kennington
No.
Road.
So its second name, which it got, in the August of the era it opened, is this one, Westminster Bridge Road, which is a better name for it, I think.
Yeah.
But that didn't last that long either, did it? April 1917, I think, before it was changed to Lambeth Brackets North. And then that was dropped around 1928 to what we know today without the brackets.
Now, in the intro, I mentioned that it had been the temporary southern terminus of the Bakerloo line. That's because this opened with the rest of the line in March 1906. And then in August of that same year, Elephant and Castle finally opened, becoming the southern terminus. So it's interesting, isn't it, that for a while it was the one.
It is, and of course, the London Road depot, which is the depot at the south for the Bakerloo line, is actually in between the 2 of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
With a really quite awkward access from the running track to the depot.
Well, because don't you have to go actually beyond this station in order to shunt in and then go back?
So yeah, you have to go, if I remember rightly, I think you have to go north from Elephant Castle and then
I think you have to go further there. I don't know. Anyway, it's not really relevant, but it's a very interesting station. Beautiful Leslie Green facade. Some original parts of the station do survive and some rather questionable replicas as well.
Absolutely. I think before we go inside, we should also reference what happened in the street outside during the Second World War.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. During the Second World War, this station was being used as a shelter. It was actually the first London Underground station to get proper bunks put on the platform for shelterers' use. It was on the 25th of November 1940. But on the 16th of January 1941, a giant bomb landed right in the middle of this road and sort of hit the station as well and decimated the platforms below. But nobody died that night, right?
Amazing, given the size of the bomb. It was a 1,800 kilogram bomb, huge thing. That they used to refer to as Satan.
Oh.
They were that big. So anyway, we'll do a little bit more of that when we're downstairs, I think. So for the time being,
Yeah.
we should have a look at the outside of the building a bit more. There used to be a training school here as well, didn't there?
Yes.
And I think now there's some offices just here which might actually contain some of the best surviving bits of the station.
Let's go look. So this is pretty cool.
Wowzers. Well, they look good, don't they?
They look incredible, actually.
So we're in what used to be originally the station entrance.
Yeah.
And we can see we've got all the usual trimmings. We've got these beautiful acanthus leaf here.
Yep.
Design tiles.
Yeah.
And down here we've got terrazzo
Gorgeous
flooring,
terrazzo, yeah.
complete with the
str-
inlay.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that this today is being used as offices for London Underground. Used to be a part also, as Chris was saying earlier, as the training school for railwaymen
And women.
later railway women. But the funny thing is they've stripped all of these original tiles from the actual ticket hall next door.
We're
but
gonna
they've
have to
kept them
talk
here,
about it.
which I'm just sort of, because these are in such good nick, I'm wondering how worn the ones were in the
I
actual
think it was
ticket.
probably more that they're remodelling next door. So, but what I like is we've got the border tiles, we've got really good examples
Yeah.
of the regular tiles.
You can basically see our reflection in it, yeah.
Then if we carry on down, we've got those skirting tiles that we've seen elsewhere. And if we look right up there, we can see even, you see there's a frame design
Yeah.
done in tile.
And actually through there as well.
Let's just have a quick look.
I'm not going to barge into anyone's offices.
So yeah, you can see it really well there, can't you? We've got the stairs, and then above it, they're being painted over, but you can see where there were those panels, either posters or...
Even through there, you see?
Oh yeah, that's incredible. You're absolutely right, Siddy. Can't believe how well this survives.
And the glazing is still gorgeous.
Well, of course, it's now an office back here, so it doesn't get the daily attrition that it would if it was in the ticket hall. With...
Oh, we just met somebody who works here, and this is the Victoria and Bakerloo Line track office. So,
but just look at all of the finishing around here. It's really nice to see that.
it's kind of like a disused station within an operational station.
It is.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think we've ever come across that before.
No. So those who are working at Lambeth North offices, how lucky you are to get to see acanthus leaves every day, or when you're in the office.
Okay, well, should we go and see how it survived in the actual ticket hall, Siddy?
Yes. Right.
Well,
Very different vibe in here
isn't it?
than next door.
It's got to be said, Siddy, we're going to have to talk about tiles. So this is a this is a replica. I've got to say
It's
that
just
is
not-
one of the most dubious replicas I've seen.
It's really missed the mark, I think, on this one. It's also very different from other replicas that we've seen around the network. I've never really seen that before.
No, I've not either. I would say, okay, so they've tried to do something that looks a bit like the acanthus leaf here.
Yeah.
So it looks to me as if somebody had once seen them and then described to the designer down the phone what the acanthus leaf tile might have looked like.
Yeah.
So they do have, I guess if you hadn't seen the ones we've just seen, there's something about them.
I mean,
And the colour's quite good.
Yeah. I must say I'm not a huge fan of these square tiles that you find in some of the kind of 80s upgrades that they did to fit in the universal ticketing system. So that's when this ticket office was placed to the station. I don't know, there's something about them that screams restroom facilities to me.
Yeah, I think Alex likes to reference ATOP's tiles at that point, or do as well.
Yeah.
So what we do have here, a bit like at Mornington Crescent, is these lights in the ticket hall, but just like Mornington Crescent, there are rather too many of them to be the originals. There would have only been 1 or 2 in here.
Well, and also they've got those kind of LED bulbs in them, which are blinding me now looking at them. Other little things that I noticed, which was that plaque up there.
Yeah.
So on this, it says on this site between 1810 and 1900 stood the works of Maudsley's Sons and Field, famous for marine and general engineering. So it was a famous engineering company that used to be on this site and then got demolished when they were finding a site for the station to be built upon.
And of course, another bit of disused infrastructure now is the ticket office windows, which have been repurposed as historical panels, telling us about the history, including its wartime damage.
Oh, and another thing, you know how we were stood out there earlier? It's got kind of this grey concrete look that looks quite unfinished and unattractive. That's because there used to be a shopping parade kind of next to the station, got demolished in the 1960s to build that road. So they've demolished everything but the station, and that's why it looks so plain and boring.
So there's been a heck of a lot of change, even at the surface level here. That's before we get inside.
I know.
So, shall we?
Let's do it. So, 2 lifts here, Chris.
2 modern lifts, but that wasn't how it originally was it?
No, it wasn't, because there used to be 4 lifts in this station, and then when they got replaced with these modern ones, they left one of the lift shafts empty for ventilation.
Right, well, I think that must be through there. So, shall we?
All right. Interesting. What do we got there? Let's see.
Lift, transfer, bridge and ladder.
Oh, that's not the key.
It's never the first one, is it? Well done. Let's go for the gifted. Oh, definite light on.
VP.
Oh. VP 13B.
Oh,
look above our heads, Sids.
Oh, yeah.
Again, we've got a bit of a ridge there. So we've got green tiling and a bit of cornice work up there, and the classic telltale witness marks at the backs of tiles where they've been stripped.
Yep. Here we have it, folks.
Wowzers.
Ooh, yep. We have a lift shaft, ladies and gentlemen.
We do indeed.
Oh, look at that.
Right.
Oh my God. They've got the original.
We're too excited, but we're going to have to do a bit of lighting so that our viewers can see. Here we go. Big torch.
The grills are still there, you guys.
Look at that. So,
I mean, these are so rare now. These are proper Art Nouveau, like wrought iron, and these would say which number of lifts they are.
Yeah, it's classic alteration, isn't it, on the underground, where it's literally just block worked up. But those are the entrance doors to the original lifts. Presumably that's lift number 4, and then next to it, just there, was lift number 3.
Oh,
and
how much would you give to get that?
I know.
To the museum?
Yeah, without demolishing the block work, no way to get those back, is
well,
there?
you could, I mean,
but
you
look
could
down there.
saw that. Well, also, Paul Simpson, who's the customer service supervisor here. Hi, Paul. Thank you so much for helping us today. He told me that when they need to do any maintenance to this, often it's an abseil job.
Yeah, it's really tricky even to film through this, isn't it? So I'm guessing we're going to encounter this lift shaft
at the
bottom, and that might be easier to see, but that is just great.
That is, I'm so excited about that.
It's worth coming,
so
just
cool.
to have seen that, for me.
Absolutely.
It's tremendous.
Right, Chris,
okay.
Now you've got to start thinking about how you might remove those, those grills.
Not easy at all. Actually, I'm just looking down, it's still got even the tread plates.
No.
Let me see if I can catch that on film. It's still got the tread plates, look, for the lifts.
And presumably on the other side of that is just the office building that we've just been in.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Right
Awesome.
then, let's get ourselves downstairs and see what else we can find.
I love when this happens.
Right, this one for me is a no-brainer. We've got to do the stairs and not the lifts.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, I can already see a glimpse of some original tiles down there, so...
And some of this stuff looks like it's got a bit of age to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So 84 steps is not a particularly deep station.
It's not
this
too bad,
one,
is it?
No. Oh, there we go. We're back in the world of original.
Oh, look at that.
Oh my God, just look at the stairs over there. Those tiles. They're absolutely incredible. The colours, I've never seen that before.
I know.
This isn't a station which I've probably used it maybe once or twice.
I mean, I used to live really close. I used to live close by, but I don't think I've actually ever been here before. Just look at the way this.
It's a really intricate bit of tile work, isn't
well,
it?
Especially because presumably this is a tile's been cut.
Yeah.
And then carefully placed so it forms like a
That must
pattern
have
of
been
its own.
hard to do.
Yeah.
But
Ooh.
that colour scheme is just remarkable, isn't it?
So, in my research, it was said to be blue, cream, and gold.
I mean, I get the gold.
Yeah.
It's kind of more of a. It's almost like Brompton Road, isn't it? It's that kind of caramelly butterscotch.
But I feel like this is yellower than
Yeah.
that. This is like sunset.
I think the guys have missed out on this one. That's
I know.
a really beautiful colour scheme. Well, I think it's time to get downstairs, isn't it? It's quite a vivid blue on the handrail and the skirt, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Right then.
I know. Ooh, I really like these.
What? That's rather cute as well.
Yeah.
The little lantern up on the top. And the central duct's been modified. The original lattice is gone. There's a new handrail. So it's been modified quite a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But these tremendous things survive.
I love them. I think
Yeah.
they're really lovely colour.
Yeah, it's just not a colour scheme I've really clocked before.
No.
We must almost be at the bottom by now. It's only 84 steps.
But somehow equivalent to 15 stories.
Oh, hello. Not seen one of these before.
Oh,
Got to be wartime mod, right?
yeah. Well, you were
What?
telling me.
This has got to be a floodgate.
Yeah. And this is so ridiculous. I've never seen anything like this. It's
No,
very
it's-
small.
That's an older sign as well, isn't it? So
Yeah, this is tight. And
We are-
I mean, look at that door.
we are quite close to the river here, aren't we? And back in the day, during the Munich crisis, they actually filled the Bakerloo line with concrete for a while until they could fit floodgates.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is quite important, I guess. Corrugated iron,
Yeah.
bit of wriggly tin,
It's very, yeah, it's all a bit strange, isn't it?
and then last bit of vertical band, and we're into modern replica.
Oof, I gotta say, they've done a decent job.
Yeah, I think the orangey gold is kind of similar, isn't it? And the
blue
this
is
a bit
very
too dark.
black.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
Okay, well let's get down to the platforms. Now, just looking at this, Sid, it looks like we've got the remnants of another modification for a watertight door, doesn't it? It's also,
Yeah, that's metal.
what is nice though is that we've got the cornicing survives,
Oh yeah.
and they've re-infilled it with the new tiling. It's quite pretty.
It is. Yeah.
Right, platforms.
Let's go. This seems like a fairly abnormally large passageway, though, doesn't it? It
I
seems
agree.
almost down street size.
Yes, exactly, down street, yeah. Just sort of the next size, sort of
Because
running
then-
tunnel size
and
rather
then
than
you
passenger
go-
size.
And this is now,
Yeah.
it's still big. Right. Now, I actually really like this tiling pattern.
Yeah. I
Also,
like
it's
they've
fun.
got these little fan tubes to try and help the air keep moving when the
Yeah.
trains aren't around.
Look, also, so they had to make the platforms longer.
Yeah. Well,
another train coming on the southbound.
I think you might be right there.
Ooh, windy.
So this bit that we're in now, you've basically back up there got the original platform.
Yep.
But the bit that we're in now is
The
quite an obvious
extension.
extension,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's like they didn't even bother trying to make it, look the same.
In no way subtle.
Yeah, well, this was done in the late 30s when they were increasing the car sizes up to 7 cars.
Yeah.
The train car sizes up to 7 cars per train.
The other thing that's worth saying here is this was quite an early refurbishment that tried to refurbish in the style of the original station.
Yeah.
And because of that, the tiling up there has suffered a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
So we've got tiles which have come away because, well, the backs of them are different. And I understand.
Not as sturdy.
No, they haven't got those big keystoning
Yeah.
holes in the back. And also, I understand in the early days of doing this, they had lots of trouble with the adhesive and the curing time, which meant that not all of the tiles would stick. So if you look down here, the bottom ones, which presumably went on first, are okay.
Yeah.
But then if they were tiling that during the course of a night possession.
Hey, I mean, it does make you appreciate how incredible those old Leslie Green stations are, which still have that original banding over.
If you look over there, you can just see the mark between the original adhesive, which is all still there,
Keystoning.
and then where even the adhesive has let go on the far side. So yeah,
Very
lessons learned. So the modern, now when they retile, it's a lot more secure. Shall we head through into the southbound?
Yep.
So, when the bomb struck in the road outside the station, it caused quite a lot of damage down here on the platforms.
Yes.
And
I mean, the photos are horrific.
they are.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's a wonder people didn't actually die there and then in the station.
The amount of debris just coming down.
And that image of the attrition in the platform was incredible. And I gather we had to rebuild about 25, 26 metres of the platform to reinstate the station.
And that was here on the southbound.
Yeah. So hard to imagine, isn't it? Thinking you're safe down here and then that happening. And I guess with the shallower bits of the tube, that was one of the lessons, wasn't it? That actually it wasn't impervious to attack.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes me think of, well, some people have asked us before, and something we've wondered, which is, would you have heard the bombs if you were down in the underground sheltering? And when you see those photos, what the damage that a bomb in the road above, but not penetrating into the tube made to the tunnels. Yeah. Oh, I mean, the noise would have been deafening.
It would have been lessened, but you would definitely have heard it. We only have to think of all of those places that we've been to, where we've been on a platform or in a tunnel, and there's piling work on a building site nearby, and you can hear it clear as day. So, an 1,800 kilo bomb going off, you'd notice.
Hear it. Yeah. Well, that's lovely. Shall we go and have a look at the lift shaft?
I think we should. On our way out, I think it's time to go and see what we can find behind closed doors.
Now we've got the 2 operational lifts here. So something intriguing must be behind this door.
I've got to say, the more I look at the tiles, the more I think this is actually quite a pretty station where they survive. Okay then, let us in.
Oh.
Good news? Oh, very good news.
Very damp news.
Okay, let's have a bit of light then.
Yeah.
There we go.
Ooh.
Wow. Oh yes, it is. There's quite a nose, isn't there?
Also, Chris, you know this better than me, dealing with Clapham South, but...
Oh yeah. It's damp in here, isn't it?
Well, shouldn't stay in here for too
No,
long.
not linger too long, but let's see what we've got, shall we? Definitely some original lift portals.
Yay, to the trains.
Oh, hey, it's been a while since we've seen one of these, isn't it? That's nice to see.
Absolutely.
Little arrow. In fact,
It's in pretty good
two
nick.
arrows. Yeah, aside from the chunk that's been knocked out, and I wonder, Siddy, look, it looks to me like
been
there was
modified.
a temporary wall
Yeah.
was chased in there. I wonder if that's a wartime addition.
Well, you know what I'm
Actually,
thinking? Shelter as toilets.
I think it may have been repurposed as that, but actually thinking about it, Paul, the station manager, he mentioned that there used to be signal control in here. So I wonder if it's a wall that was in there for that. But look, there's been a temporary wall at this end as well. That's cool. It's probably hard to decode what this.
Yeah, and also
this
is very odd. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of things mounted in the walls.
And as we suspected, we're going to have to come into the lift shaft from the other side.
Yeah, but you can see here they've put some kind of blockwork wall there, and there's been something quite sturdy mounted on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, curious.
Very
Curious.
Strange. Oh, there you go.
There we go. Right. He was right. So northbound signal main and southbound signal main. So this was a part of a signalling facility.
Oh, that's cool. Well, should we go to the other side and
I
see
think
what
we
we
should.
can find?
So I'm guessing there's two things we're going to need in here, as well as the cameras, gloves, because it's a vent shaft, and quite a powerful torch. So
You've got the big daddy torch.
I do. You got the key.
I've got a key.
Let's see what we can do.
Oh, that's pushing and pulling right there.
Right. Got it? Do you want that? Oh, well done. Oh, look at that. Right
Exciting.
then. I'm going to grab the other camera.
Yep.
Now there is a light there. Oh, there we go.
Lovely. Oh, and this one is going to. All right.
Okay. Well, this is an interesting one.
Wow. Yeah, it is.
Should we take a look up
Do you
first?
think this works? No.
After a fashion. Well, we've got a panel light, so
Let's have a look.
do you want to head up?
Yep. Ooh.
Oh, there's a lot.
Should we take this
Right.
off just to the storage license is exactly in the place where you'd have a maker's mark tile.
Isn't it?
Should I just peel it off and see?
There's nothing obvious, is there?
No.
Yeah. Okay, carry on in.
Gosh, I'm going to need my torch here as well.
There's nothing better than seeing big, scary voids, is there?
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
That's a breeze.
That is quite lively in here, isn't it? That's quite warm air that's getting pushed out, so it's doing its job. Yeah. So,
Grim.
let's have a look what we've got. So, down here, we've got, I think it's a passive vent by the look of it. Doesn't look like it's a fan, there's nothing running. And well, there's nothing for scale, viewers, but I can assure you that's quite massive.
Oh.
Weirdly, it doesn't look quite as giant down here as it did when we were at the top.
Yeah. It does sometimes do that. Oof.
Yeah.
Don't like seeing how much dust is here.
No, certainly not going up those particular stairs. Should we see if we've got a maker's tile?
Yeah, there's nothing.
Oh, they've taken it all away.
Yeah.
Shame. Nothing doing.
Ooh,
Oh, hang on.
that's popping my ears a little bit.
No, nothing
No.
there. Shame, but worth checking. And I wonder, could they have survived over there? Not seeing anything. But hey, we've had a look.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else we've got down here.
Oh. Okay. There's
Yeah.
something really bizarre over there.
Yeah, well, I think we know what that is. Right then, let's carry on over. Oh, that's quite a big thing there, isn't it?
Oh. Okay. We did Stockwell.
Yeah, it is reminiscent of that, isn't it?
I'm saying that whoa!
Heavens above.
That is a big floodgate.
Isn't it? That is not small.
That is a big floodgate. Wow.
That's it's like the ones that still survive at Baker Street, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, those. They're in the passenger concourse.
So you've kind of got the run rail. Hang on, let me see if I can get this. You've got the run rail that supports it, because obviously that's quite a heavy thing, and so the run rail allows it to smoothly shut.
They're really prepared for any type of flooding here.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was really serious business.
Yeah.
They had the floodgates installed here in the running tunnels by the outbreak of war in 1939. And that looks interesting.
It does.
For once, it's quite a civilized gradient.
Ooh. Wait a minute. Ooh.
Lord,
We've got to be
it's push pull.
very, very windy. But it's weird because we're hearing rumblings from down there, but the Bakerloo line is over there, so it's got to be a different line.
Does. And, well, I mean, we've got to carry on, haven't we? Let's light that up.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
wow, so it's not stairs, it's kind of a ramp. I'm getting a bit of a Euston Northern Line vibe about this.
Euston, Stockwell, yeah.
Yeah. Let's just take the...
Smells like the Northern Line to me.
It does.
Which line became, well, is older than younger than the Bakerloo, therefore has to be going deeper in the ground.
Well, it's got to be Northern, hasn't it?
Uh-huh.
And I'm very much getting a Euston vibe about this.
Ooh, yeah, no, I'm not going
Shall
to.
I?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to tell you what? I'll head out and take a look. Yeah, we'll maybe not do that.
I think maybe not.
It's impressive, but let me show you, dear viewer, what we have here.
Oh, and yep, you can hear it.
Yep.
That is the Northern Line, ladies and gentlemen.
Oop.
Woo. Right, I'm prepared to leave this space now, Mr. Nix.
Yeah, it's quite atmospheric, but one can have too much fun, I think. I think that's a definite case for heading back up.
Yep.
Wow, we do find some incredible places, don't we?
Do you know what? Today has really exceeded my wildest expectations.
Okay, right. Where do we start with all of this? I've got loads of notes on this. First of all, Laura and I think we did very well not to get ourselves dirty in that funny bendy shaft. Wasn't overly keen on that, were you?
I mean, it did look super dusty, and I think it was really hot yesterday as well. So well done, you two, for exploring for us.
Now, let's start off with the tiles, because Chris and Siddy did a brilliant job showing us all the way around the station. First of all, you know me, I love an original tile, but then there is that, and Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, but we do seem to have the fir cone and Elizabeth Duke at Argos design on those tiles of the chain around the neck and the fir cone. What the hell was that?
It's rather unfortunate, isn't it? What's even more unfortunate is the originals are in such good condition that next to kind of they've tried really hard, but yeah, it doesn't quite work, does it? But it's more like a fern leaf than the acanthus leaf. But the originals are just, I mean, stunning, absolutely stunning. I tried to wear green as well today in homage to. I haven't got the right shade in the top, but I genuinely love those tiles. I'm a bit sad I missed them.
It's a shame you're not wearing your Elizabeth Duke chain as well. That would be rather lovely.
Yeah, exactly.
Those tiles are all fir cone and no.
Yeah, very good, very good. Very good. Good job. It's the end of the series. Siddy, you made a very good point. When the property was being renovated in the early 1990s, and this is where we, as people who love this kind of thing, would just put our face in our hands. The original name was found and removed
Yeah. Oh, when I read that, I actually went out loud. Oh no, because it's just so sad. So yeah, in 1991, they were about to retile the platforms, and to do so, they stripped the whole platform of posters, because back then they had so many more posters than we do today. And as they did so, they unveiled the original name of Kennington Road, and they thought it would be too confusing for passengers to leave it up. And so they stripped it all down, which is, of course, contrary to what they've done at places like Warren Street and Marylebone. But those were, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, a little bit later renovations. So just on the cusp. So it could have been Kennington Road, which would have been so cool, right?
It's such a shame that it was done then, because it's only a few years later that the rather exacting standards about preserving heritage come in on the underground. So by the time that Mornington Crescent is being done, it's a completely different quality of work that's done there. I do think this is one of those stations, though, that really, really demonstrates that point that the handmade original tiles just have a quality to them that you have to see to believe. And when you put them against the modern replicas that are very homogeneous and made by machine, they're just so flat in comparison to the originals. And that's why we get excited about these things when we find the originals.
And it's interesting, isn't it? It's a bit like anyone who's ever bought an old house and they see original glass in the windows, and it's got dimples and undulations and all that kind of thing. And if you wanted a pristine house, you'd hate it. You'd rip it all out. But if you love that little bit of extra detail that could only have been made by having things made by hand, you want to keep it and nurture it. I always think it's a little bit like that with the tube tiles. And actually, while we're talking tiles, we have to pay tribute to that colour mix on the spiral staircase of gold or caramel and blue. And again, we love blues, right? Not enough blue in the world, but that combination law of gold and blue is so striking, isn't it?
It's utterly gorgeous. I saw it and I was like, mind blown, because I've not seen that combo on in a station before. And I think if you flick through any kind of contemporary magazine these days that's about kind of textiles, materials, like homeware, you'll find like a navy sofa and a mustard cushion, or like a gold kind of tile with a blue kind of sprinkling. Like it's a combo that works. It works then and it works now. And I really, really like it. I mean, am I going to go with butterscotch or gold? It's a tricky one. I mean, you guys were there, so you saw it. It's probably like, if you had like a midpoint between gold and butterscotch, I'm going with that kind of mid.
Is that gutterscotch?
Or bold.
Doesn't quite have the ring to it that we want, does it? But I mean, yeah, I'm a big fan. I could see why people might find it a bit bold or a bit out there, but I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. And, while we were, before the film started, I said some things to watch out for. First of all, when Siddles, 5'9" of Siddles stood up against that door, and we saw WT and a number scraped on with chalk. It reminded me of my days of teaching. Are we to be assuming that WT means watertight in London Underground signage terms?
I think so. I mean, when we were stood next to it, I think it stood for but it was because it really did just kind of loom out of the darkness at us. But if you want to see something that's practically the same as we said on the film, go to Baker Street, and when you're at the top of the escalators down to I think it's the southbound Bakerloo and Jubilee lines there, you can see there's a set there.
I mean, I do love the look of that. And I mean, just to have a little moment of these pictures is just stunning, isn't it, really, Law? I mean, it's everything you would want from the frontage of a station. Just
look at that little glorious moment in history of the group kind of sitting around. It even looks like someone's like looking around and having a look at the photo being taken, and the cart kind of just left. It's just lovely. I really, really like this. Baker Street and Waterloo Railway, Westminster Bridge Road Station.
We move on again, and you can see that now we've gone down to a single way in and out, and the left-hand side's been boarded up.
Oh, look, there it is, bracketed.
Yeah.
nowadays we go in through that left-hand door, don't we?
That's right. Yeah.
So why did they board that up then?
As I say, the station didn't need the capacity to have that through route. So it really, fairly shortly after it was built, they started just using one side, and the side that they've used is flipped around.
You know, Chris, do you see in the entrance bit those kind of like frames that you were talking about that we also saw at the school?
Yeah, I was just looking at the frames that have been added here for the posters with those classic kind of swan neck lights.
Also, do you not think, I mean, not so long ago, me and Christopher were in Glasgow for a birthday party. Do you not think that all that Art Deco glasswork in arch number 3 is a little bit Rennie Mackintosh?
You are absolutely right.
Yeah,
just by the era this is being added. Yeah.
Let's have a look at another one. I've got the taste for this now.
Well, let's have a look at how the ticket hall was.
Isn't it funny how they used to look so ornate outside and sometimes quite austere inside? Do you get that vibe, Law?
Yeah, it's much more kind of functional and clinical once you've got inside. In this particular section, I'm liking the ceiling lights, though. That's where my eye is drawn to straight away.
Do you see how few of them there are? Few in comparison with what they are today with the replicas.
Railway Training Centre, look at that.
I was about to say, have you spotted the sign over the door, which is the segue into the last set of photos? So on the right-hand door, it now says Railway Training Centre. And before it moved off to White City and to Ashfield House, see previous episode on Ashfield House and the training centre there today, there was one at Lambeth North, and extensive wartime use. And let's have a look. So this is during wartime era when women were being brought into the workforce, and they had a uniform store there. So we go a little bit, are you being served here?
I was going to Mrs. Slocum. She's just measuring up at the moment, and Captain Peacock is ferreting up and down that ladder.
Thankfully, she's left her cat at home.
Probably licking the fish off the mat.
Indeed. So, bit of outside leg measurement there.
I don't know what you two are talking about right now.
For the best, Laura.
Are you being served? We can't talk too much about it because ultimately there's probably a helpline. But please go watch it on YouTube. It's great. Look at that. So that was just like measuring up her leg for a nice pair of trews.
Yeah. Well, you know, of course, they will have had to find uniforms for women, which I presume they would have to alter from just existing men's uniforms because they wouldn't have had time to make them for women specifically.
They did design specific women's uniform.
Did they?
You're in the middle of a heat wave here in Portugal, where I am, and also in London, where you are. I mean, these days they'd have just hacked them off at the top of the thigh and turned them into shorts. Because let's face it, we love it when our crews wear shorts on the London Underground, don't we?
Here we can see them using a new bit of innovation, a recording machine, to tape recorder to practice making station announcements and then listen back to just how well you did it.
Oh, I love that. Look at that. It's a little reel to reel. That is so cool.
The lady practicing looks a little bit scared, and then the others are kind of, go on, you can do it, you can do it.
Like us four, isn't it? Egging each other up. You almost want it to be like, the bouquet residence, the lady of the house speaking.
The woman on the right is definitely doing the eyes of encouragement, isn't she?
Yeah, she's like, you got this, you got
Laura's eyes. It's got a Laura's eyes moment in it. You can do this, babe. You can do this.
Got your back.
In the middle. That's Siddy in the middle, the one with the smile. I love that. That is Siddy's cheek and smile right in the middle. Look.
Here we've got the basics of signals and points being taught.
Yes, like we did at Ashfield House.
Exactly.
That's incredible, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Happier in this one, less scared.
Finally, we have this one. Real high-tech equipment.
What is that like? What is that? A bit of a train?
Yeah, driver's cab. They're showing how the controller works.
So Crikey. So when they were teaching people to drive trains, they literally had to pull the frontages off and show them every little gizmo, sprocket and nut. Crikey.
At the top, you've got the hand controller for the speed, the regulator, and then you can see all of the rotary contactors down at the bottom, and he's basically just showing the new recruits how that works.
And you also have that faulty towers light switch that was outside the bathroom.
What, above his head?
The alien lady was stretching. How lovely. What would that have done? Would that have turned on the cab lights?
I think so, yeah. It might have turned on the bathroom lights at the control centre, I'm not sure.
I only say these things to see what your reaction is. And hopefully some of the people who are watching, if you've ever watched Faulty Towers, you'll know exactly the episode I'm talking about. That is fascinating. All of that at Lambeth North.
And more besides. They had track mock-ups and all sorts. So, yeah, it's the incredible facility they had there.
Absolutely superb. So marks out of 10 for Lambeth North, Nixie.
It's definitely a 9. Maybe a 9.5. It's one of those stations where I got there and just went, wow, there's so much more here than I thought.
What about you, Siddles? Because you went, I mean.
Yeah, cool. I agree. I thought it was going to be a really quick kind of look around. I thought we'd do a little bit on the platform and a little bit in the ticket, and it took us far longer. It took us 3 hours to explore everything.
Gorgeous. And Lord, the tiles, babe, the tiles.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth going just for that little nugget of joy, isn't it? It's not a station I frequented that much. And for Zone 1, kind of really close to Kennington and Waterloo, I'd have thought I'd have kind of been there more. But I might go and have just a little sneaky look around when I'm in that neck of the woods again. It's definitely worth going to look at some of that kind of stuff that's still hidden in plain sight. So I might be taking a little trip there, but I'm going with a strong 8 to 9. And I do feel like we flipped that jewelry box lid and there were some very lovely sparkly moments.
Gorgeous stuff. I'm really, really glad. We don't often do notes, queries and questions really, but since this is the last of the series, I just thought I'd have a little.
I believe it's the last one.
I know, and bearing in mind that actually Series 7 began with South Kentish Town, which is one of my favourite episodes just because of the sheer peril of going and looking around it on a soaking wet winter's day with no knowledge of what was down there. It's still one of my favourites. And another episode that I just adored was the track walk at Finsbury Park. Mm-hmm. It's fast approaching 100,000 views, when we started doing this, that we ever imagined that we'd get to 100,000. I know there's other stuff out there on the internet that gets other numbers, but we wanted ours to be different and special. And we're really grateful for you for joining us on this route. And we got a message from David Gibson, right? And I love this. I'd love to thank you all for the great work that the four of you do to keep the history of London Underground alive. I came across your site by accident and I've enjoyed going back over your old broadcasts that you've done over the past 6 years. Is it 6 years? Is it 4 or 6? I can't remember. It just like
3.
It feels longer than it is, clearly.
29 lockdowns. I'm a retired motorman from the Toronto Transit Corporation. Though our subway only started in 1952, and we do have a few secrets that the public have no knowledge about or walk past every day. It's all right, there's tribunals happening quite often. Our first trains that I learned to operate were made in Gloucester in England, which are no longer in service. I enjoyed my work on the subway and I miss it very much. Keep up the good work. Can't wait to see your next episodes. Yours, David, from Nova Scotia in Canada.
Nova Scotia.
Who'd have thought that we'd get this global audience? It blows my mind. I just sort of be like, 3 people from Camden Town, liking a bit of this. It's massive.
Our reach is clearly growing. It's remarkable.
But don't you think that just kind of really reflects how this all started? Like people kind of stumbled across the Hangouts and then kind of realized there's a lot of episodes out there that we've done and then kind of just stuck with it. I think that's a really nice journey and kind of very reflective of how a lot of people have kind of come about watching the episodes. So thank you, David from Nova Scotia.
It's always nice to hear your story. So many people tell us about how lockdown for them was so hard and we provided them with some company. Well, I mean, you provided us with company that we needed as well. So it was a two-way street. And we started to create something that I think we all just still love doing. And it's finding out stations like Lambeth North it sort of hides in plain sight. And then we go and see it, and then we can share those joys with you for free, which is good. But of course, if you want to help contribute to the museum, then we've got our Patreon service. And I have to say, Nixie, there are some gems on the Patreon that never see the light of public day, do they?
There are some things that are just for our Cirrus fans, and that's where they reside on Patreon. So if you fancy a bit of that,
Good stuff.
Probably a graphic up just here that you can follow to go and join that.
There's also
I've got one, and here's the jewelry box.
I can put anything there.
Catalogue number, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And Sids, we should also do a massive plug for the tours, because actually, when we see them on telly, sometimes the best bit about it is when your fingerprints can just touch the tiles on those disused station walls. So, what's running, and how do they get tickets?
I mean, the easiest thing to do to see what's going on, which tours you can come visit and what you can see, is to go on to the London Transport Museum website. So it's ltmuseum.co.uk.
Do the finger.
Hidden-London. And there you can see what's coming up. We've got lots and lots of tickets for the summer. We've got some amazing places like Down Street, Charing Cross, some of those really, really interesting sites. So go and have a look and come join us on the tour.
Yeah, if you've like listened to these episodes and you hear us talk about the door moment, and feeling the kind of breeze when you're in one of the passageways and a train's going past, or you're behind the door and you can see people in the corridor walking past, but you're literally meters away, but like in a totally different place. These tours are for you, because it takes you to that place so very quickly off the main platform or the main concourse, and suddenly you're in a different world. So if you've enjoyed listening to it on these episodes, there's nothing quite like being there and experiencing it. So please, come and take a look at any of the ones that are on offer at the moment.
And all I'll say is, over the summer, keep your eyes on Instagram, on our Instagrams, to see whether there might be an opportunity to meet us, maybe sometime soon. Who knows? A couple of others. Siobhan Lewis says, I'm sure the toot that you got at Gloucester Road isn't the first one Siddy's had from a passing driver.
Well, so did Laura. They're not those kind of toots, guys. It is it's a security and safety requirement when we're standing on a platform that isn't in use, or even when we're standing on a platform that is in use wearing a high-vis vest. We need to let the driver know that we've seen them and they've seen us. So sometimes there's a toot involved. It wasn't any kind of
flirty toot.
No,
I do a flirty toot. I go,
oh, we've got another T-shirt design right away there. Flirty toot.
A flirty toot. It wasn't a flirty toot. It was a
flirty toot. Beautiful. Right, I'll go. I've got rid of my little. Like, look at that poor thing. Honestly, sit there. Don't move. Don't move. Don't move. Don't move. Stay. 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 Tiffany Tripod is a suggested name for because we've got to give the tripod a name. This is our third camera operator, well, fifth, I suppose. Although I'm not really a camera operator, I'm rubbish with the camera.
I also like the suggestion of Tray Pod.
Tripod. Loads of lovely comments. Jack and TJ and Napier Nimbus. No, great presentation. I like that. Great presentation. What a great episode. I say in my down under drawl, says for the Burbs. See, Australia. How cool, eh? How cool. And there's one other, and forgive me because the name's passed out of my head, but we've had a recommendation to visit the Charles Holden pub, which is apparently designed in his style, and I think it's opposite Tooting Beck Station, and we all have to go down and have a bevy in the Charles Holden pub. So if you're up for it, boy,
sounds good to me.
Sounds lovely. So as we said, it's the end of Series 7. We're going to take a break, not to break, but to film Series 8. And there's some amazing opportunities coming our way, including, as we've said before, an opportunity to look round Camden Junction. This is where two tube lines joined. Mega amounts of tunnelling were done, one on top of another. And we're going to get to have a look at that thanks to our chums at London Underground. And we've got a load of other wonderful things to see. And in the meantime, keep your eyes open for some little treats that come your way over the summer. Our Patreon service continues right the way through. So if you'd like to sign up for that, go to the museum website and sign up, and you'll be able to see us through the summer. And as I say, keep an eye on our Instagram, because you never quite know what we might post next. Christopher Nix, as always, thank you for Series 7. It's been a canter and a blast.
Well, thank you. We might be donezo for Series 7, but yeah, looking forward to 8. And as you said, we're going to be busy over the next few months going in on our travels to do that.
Good stuff. Siddy Holloway, thank you so much indeed. I am trying to give you a run for your money with your tan.
I know. Well, it's quite sunny in London still, so we'll have to compare and contrast when you're back in town. But thank you so much for Series 7, everyone. Can't believe how long that, well, Series 7 and Series 8, that's extraordinary. Thank you, guys.
100,000 views. We're happy with that. Thank you very much. And Laura Hilton Brown, as always, thank you, my darling. Your eye for colour is a million times better than mine will ever be. Your interpretation, you should see things that they write about you, babe, honestly. And your interpretation of art, it is so lovely. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for your kind words. And thank you to you three lovely people for being exploring buddies with me as well. Thanks to everyone for sticking with us. Can't believe it's kind of the end of Series 7. But looking back to South Kentish Town, what a way to start the series as well. And a lovely, lovely one to end on as well. So yeah, looking forward to Series 8, guys.
Bring on 8. Bring on 8. As you found us on YouTube, thank you very much. Like, subscribe and comment down below. Keep the kindness coming, and suggestions of where you'd like us to visit next. Find us on Instagram as well. You never know, you might find news on Instagram. Alex Grunden, Chris Nix, Siddy Holloway, Hidden London Law, and at LT Museum. And we'll be back with Series 8 very, very soon indeed. Have yourselves a great summer. Keep yourselves safe, and speak to you soon.